Well, here on the morning show, it's good to welcome you along and always good to have a look at some important things that are breaking. And joining me for this morning's commentary on federal politics and what is happening with the coronavirus and the response by the Prime Minister is Rikki Lambert. How are you, Rikki?
Good, thank you.
Well, Chris Uhlmann in his article has written that the Prime Minister Scott Morrison has lost control over Australia's destiny and probably his own. And in the same article, he points that the Prime Minister is almost locked down in Canberra right now. How do you read those comments from the Fairfax reporter?
I think Uhlmann is right on the money here, that the PM is effectively trapped in Canberra, because if he goes back to New South Wales, he'll be locked down. And it's a remarkable situation where your Prime Minister can't actually travel the nation and communicate with people. So he's actually started writing letters instead.
Well, he has, and he must have had a little bit more time to get to the backlog of media requests, because in my hand right here I have a letter from the Prime Minister's office to Rikki Lambert. I was rather stunned. The signature down the bottom, Scott Morrison, and I read here in the last paragraph, I think an important piece that he says, while we want to achieve the highest rate of vaccination possible, it will not be compulsory to have the vaccine. The government is clear that vaccination is a personal choice. Options to verify a person's vaccination status will not change this position. There's a couple of points to draw there. First, that it is not a compulsory vaccination. He has said that before. It is a personal choice.
Well, it's really important we get a screenshot of that and put it up on our social media pages, I think, because there it is with the Prime Minister's signature on it. There's been concerns we've been investigating at Flow News 24 whether constitutionally the government might actually be breaking the Constitution by forcing doctors, for instance, to prescribe vaccinations. So that's an important development. But the reason it came about is because we've been asking not just the Prime Minister but premiers as well, will people be required to show a certificate or a passport on their phone when they go to a footy game or a supermarket, what have you, and they can be barred from entry? And that's why he's given that comment in the final paragraph.
He has options to verify a person's vaccination status will not change this position. He doesn't rule out that there could be a personal, if you like, a Medicare type of tick, or it may be that there'll be some electronic type of device. That's not ruled out here at all, and it would seem to indicate that even today, a press release that I've read elsewhere, that there is the ability for services, SA, for Centrelink and for others, to be able to put a vaccination status into records. Now, is that something that the Prime Minister hasn't ruled out here? And is that something where people may be concerned, particularly those that are looking to get a border passport to get, say, across a state boundary?
Well, he says in an earlier paragraph there that the current certificate through Services Australia is not a passport. Very expressly says it's not a passport, it's just a certificate. In fact, he calls it a reward for your vaccination status. So I think there's plenty more to be explored here with the Prime Minister, but at least to his credit, he's replied in writing with his signature to us. Some premiers haven't got back to us at all. Other premiers have said, this is going to be a decision of National Cabinet. Now, let me say this, Wayne. We seem to be, the Prime Minister's lost control of the country. You've got him trapped in Canberra. The premiers are being dictated to by health or medical bureaucracies. I think we've lost a democracy. It's now a mediocracy or a mediocrity.
Well, that could be right. And there is a constitutional law on this, Section 51. It's been widely talked about by many that this is going to come into play at some point in time, where a person's vaccination status, and if a government were to mandate that in any way, that would breach our own constitution. I think there's a lot to be said for maybe doing some more direct reading and getting our parliamentary powers back. But you mentioned something interesting there about the premiers. Is it likely that the premiers will want to give this newfound power back?
No, I don't think they will. And in a sense, I'm actually happy for states to be more powerful and put some controls on the federal government, because it means that the parliament is more accountable to people that are closer to them. We don't want a prime minister that can do anything they like with the kind of powers that have been given to premiers under this mediocrity, as I'm calling it. When you've got premiers with the kind of power they have, it's still quite concerning, but at least they're accountable, say, in South Australia at a state election next March.
All right. You can see a screenshot at flownews24.com.au on our webpage, our article, and Rikki's also got it up on the wall in his office. And we'll have more on Flow FM this morning. Good to have your company.